Hi everybody, my name is Carla Souza and I'm here today to show how to make these 3 photo albums. Absolutely amazing, out of scraps of paper, cardboard, so that we can save resources and our money. Don't even waste a single second of the video because you are going to go through every step of it. So we start by cutting a cereal or cookie box. This is the entire height of the box and I decided to cut 15 centimeters here, but you could cut any size you want depending on your photos. The first thing we are going to do is to fold this in half. And all the other 3. For this one I decided to make 3. This is a project inspired by a channel that I follow. It is Marami's Small Art from Marta. Marta has wonderful ideas. Kisses, Marta, for you. You are an amazing person and you make amazing projects. She made an art journal and I decided to pick up that idea and make the photo album. What we are going to do now is to glue this side to this side, okay? And then we are going to glue also this side to this side, so we can have an harmonica, something like this. This part was made on a live streaming video that I did with my son, and I haven't finished yet. I'm going to finish this one and I'll make this one also from top to bottom. I used white glue, also called PVA glue, but you can use any kind of glue that you might have at home. I forgot to mention that we are not going to throw all these bits and pieces away because we are going to use all the leftovers from the boxes, okay? As you can see here, we have already our album base. Don't worry about the staples, they won't show up in the end. Okay, but if you don't want to do it, don't do it. This is to make it just a little bit sturdy. Something that I really like is to cover all the pages with a paper that has letters. This is from Civil Code from 1986. It is no longer useful and I have cut some flowers in here, so I'm going to use, and I have my cat around here, so she is going to, I'm going to cover all the pages that I have here, just like this, okay? Just like this, and playing around. But in this case I'm going to use several sheets because I have, you know, tons of this, and I think we can use all that we have. It can be from magazines, from newspapers. There she goes. Anything that you might have, because I think letters look pretty nice. So I'm going to glue this down. I'm going also to, for instance, to cover this part here, to place some bits all around this also, so to make a background. I think that we can play around and even that will give us some texture. I'll be right back. While you are gluing, don't forget to fold this to see if the paper fits. I had to lower the staples. I might not use them next time because this glue is gluing very well. So, and don't mind if this looks a little bit crinkled. It adds texture to the album, okay? This is just for you to see how I'm doing it. So I even think that these bits that were in the middle of the cutting of the flowers. I used to cut my flowers. I have a cutting machine, my Cricut. You don't need to have that. I have also a video where I explain how to do these pretty flowers. I think they look amazing. We can use them everywhere we want to. On to the next page or the next 2 pages. Now I'm covering this part of the fold. One of the things that I I worry about a lot is the planet that we are going to leave for our children. I worry a lot about that, the planet that I'm going to leave for my son. That's why I think we could use a lot of this, because we need urgently to save some resources. And another thing, this is something that you won't be spending almost any money on, because if you use the cardboard from the boxes, this type of magazines, I'm going to put this one aside to dry. A lot of people say that they are afraid to experiment and everything else, so why not try to experiment with things that we can consider junk? What I'm going to do now is to dry this with my heat gun. You don't have to buy a heat gun if you want to speed up the process like I do. Use a hair dryer, and don't forget to dry it one side and the other side so it won't warp. What I'll do now is trim the excess of the sides of the box. Could be used to make some bookmarkers just like this, or trying to use this technique also. See, it's very nice. I'm going to cut some squares and some rectangles. They don't need to be perfect to cut them, because you are going to use several layers of it, so we can make that 3D effect. You can even use this part, don't worry. So this part or that part, we can save a lot of material that we have here. And I might also do, while that is still drying, do another part that I'm going to teach you. As you can see, I'm going to explain you later, but those parts were these bits that I glued here. I'm going to show you that, but now I'm going to also cut some of these squares to use with the hearts. You could use hearts, you could use, I don't know, I have these butterflies. This is also cardboard. You can paint them. You could cut images from magazines and place them also in on top of cardboard, so this make amazing effect. So I have tons of hearts, so I love hearts, as you can see. And I'm going to try to use a different paint, and I might paint them also, and probably this one, because they are getting too old, so I need to use them. This one, why not? Probably, yeah. So, and I'm going to, why not, we can use, these ones were painted before for the previous project, but I didn't use them all. Why don't we glue one on top of the other so we can have more dimension also? I have some, these tiny ears, might do that. I'm gluing these two together. I already glued this one here. I have tons of hearts and scraps that I'm going to use this time, because I really need to use tons of things that I have around here. I have a bigger square for this heart. Like I told you, they don't need to be perfect. Trying to decide what I'm going to use. So I have already these 3 for each front part, okay? So I'm going to paint them in the color of the paint I'm going to use in front. When I was painting this one, I used this sheet of paper. This is also, it's a scrap sheet also from something else that went wrong when printing, so I always take advantage of that. And I said, don't waste, don't throw that away. So I'm going to use this as a part of that embellishment over there, because I'm going to embellish all the interiors. So I'm trying to decide here how many things I need right now. But I recall that I had this one and I'm going to use in one of the pages. So I'm already tearing the paper. Probably a little bit less over here. Trying to make like a frame for the photo. Why not? While the bases are drying, okay, What are we going to do next? I'm going to need some hearts for the interior. I painted them with this color. These ones also. Okay, so I don't know if you can see the difference. These two colors are quite similar. Another one, and this one I will show you. We need a dark color to make the front, paint the front. This will need 2 layers of paint. This is not a very good paint, honestly. I don't like this brand. It is old also, but still painting. Let this first layer dry a little bit. We are going to do next is to glue also all of these squares that I have around here, because I'm going to show you afterwards how many I'm going to need. Unless these two, this and this small. Use white paper only, and all of these paper with letters. I'm going to glue all this also. It can dry, and we are going to glue the hearts in here. Now that this is already dried, what we are going to do, we are going to pick each piece of the that we have cut, and we're going to place it in here. Pretty much like a set of tiles. This has no particular order, do what you like. Underneath this has the white paper, because this paint is not as good as other paints that I have. I decided to put paper in it because it can cover better, because since it was a very dark box, I was afraid that it couldn't cover because of the paint. I'm going to glue this with my hot glue gun. You can glue it with any other glue that you might like. One of the things that I think that when I use the white glue in here, it takes a little bit longer to dry than the other one, the liquid glue. Since I did not apply it with a brush or something like that, the liquid glue sometimes can, you know, leave these parts of the paper up. If you don't like it, it's better to use the white glue or apply it with a brush. We are making a first layer. See how dark it was? I'm using hot glue to be faster. Watch out for your fingers. Eventually it can also raise a little bit. The cardboard also gives it another dimension. I'm using squares or rectangles, but if you prefer circles, why not? The thing is that we should take advantage of everything that we have at home. I already used quite a lot of paper here. This white with the letters. I can do tons of things with that. Imagine how much we can save with this. It's amazing. So why not take this to be relaxing? I think that one of the things that the way I talk and the way when I'm doing the videos, it's because I feel so relaxed, you know, with all this. And this becomes so sturdy. It's amazing the feeling that we have on this. Now what we are going to do is trying to pick up another layer, place another layer on top of this. As you please, no order, no right or wrong or anything else. Play around. For instance, when we play around, I told you that I was going to use this heart. And suddenly I placed this one on top of this one, and I think it's lovely. I know it's dark today because I'm recording this at night. I work during the day. Sometimes I don't have much time or much free time as I would like to. Going to glue this one. Totally different from that one. That one had bigger pieces. I hope that you're enjoying this. Make your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for other videos. So the next thing is to paint this in the color that I decided, just like here. It has to be a darker color because we are going to apply a little bit of white and a little bit, in this case I applied golden. One of these I'm going to apply silver. And do you remember this? This was not intentional. But now for the second one is going to be intentional because with the color that I'm going to use here. I think this one is going to need 2 layers. like I was saying, I could use a glass base that I have that sometimes works as a cut base, but that would mean that I would have to clean it up afterwards, and that means also wasting water. So I do everything I can to save water also. In this case, we have a frame for this project. The next thing we are going to do is to paint this white, but we are not covering it up completely. We only want this to let us a bit, how can I say this, so that we cannot see them a little bit, but in other situations we can, just to give it another finish and cover it up a little bit. Every page with this I'm going to do it. And I am also, since this is already dried, I'm going to cut this and I'm going to paint all the squares also in white, probably more the exterior rather than in the middle, because we are going to glue the hearts in here. I'll be back when all this is painted. So right now this album looks like this. Sometimes it may look not as pretty as we would like to, but after we apply the other paints, you'll see that it will be. This is the part painted in white. So I'm going to use just one tiny amount of paint, okay? That was too much, I think. And you have to only try like the brush was dry, so only one tiny amount. I have a cat here interested in painting the paw. You want to paint too, Callie? Yeah? Do you, honey? Yeah, I think she wants to. This will give us a little bit of more dimension to the whole structure. My cat, she's always asleep, but when I start recording, here she comes, trying to say, what are you doing? Is everything running okay? Isn't it? I have to glue this. Oh dear, no worry. I think it looks nice. Yeah. Yes. This time will be gray silver paint. Here too, just one tiny little bit. Start by small amounts. I hope you can see it. What do you think? So while the other parts are drying, we are going to glue the hearts down to the squares. Oh, this looks so nice. You know me, I fall in love with every project and everything, because I think that when we are working and when we are doing things with our own hands, it's amazing. I don't know if I'm going to use this here or here. I think I'm going to use this one here. I think I'm going to see if I have some scraps of this paper. I think I have. Okay, go closer to the camera. What do you think? Oh, I just love this. And this one too. The next thing we are going to do is to improve these embellishments over here, but I think they are looking quite cool. I'm going to trim a little bit this one. I think I'm going to put this one in here and this one below. What we are going to do here is to highlight a little bit here on the side, on one side. Hopefully this works. I'm using pastels, but you can use any other thing that you might have. For instance, any pencil or marker that you might have. I'm using this one because I have this for quite a while and I haven't used it a lot. This worked. I think this worked a little bit better in the golden one. Let me check. Only on the side. Trying to leave a shadow here, something to highlight. Yes, this works much better. Trying to highlight it. On this one I'm using, and this is watercolor, so it's going to smudge a little bit. So these are wax crayons and wax pencils. Why not make some type of shadow over here? It isn't always easy to have a golden or a grayish or silverish shadow. This one is not working, I don't know why. Let me try another way. So let's try this. This is a watercolor. I scraped a bit of the pastel into the glass coaster and I'm watering it with a watercolor pen. Since this video was already getting too long, I decided to make part 1 and part 2, but don't miss part 2 because we still have a lot of things to learn.